our last news story of the day is Queen Elizabeth II dying at the age of 96. Obviously, none of us knew her personally. If you did know her personally, well, congrats to you. What a strong woman. I mean, one, to live to 96, hell, you're a strong person and individual already. But she's the longest reigning monarch in British history. And this hits a little bit of home for me, not super close, but my father and family are all immigrants from England. They come from Lewisham. So, connection to England, of course, but just the sheer support that she's given America, always had our backs for the most part. The loving nature she had, not just to her country, but also to America, that's what means the most to me. You kind of get that same feeling a little bit, not close, but a little bit with kind of the Israelis, right? We have their back, they have ours, and you appreciate that from England on how long they've had our back, how long they've really been with us, and they really are an extension, and we're an extension kind of going both ways. So I think you know what I mean when I say that. Well, Queen Elizabeth, who ascended the British throne at freaking age 25, counted Winston Churchill and former President Reagan as close friends. Great book by Lou Cannon on Ronald Reagan. Really goes into great detail. I mean, it's like a 1,1700 page book. So it goes into great detail on everything. Probably too much detail, like full on like conversations. But his relationship with this woman, with this queen, was outstanding. And one thing that Reagan said that kind of he felt that made them close was their age. That he wasn't some youngster, he wasn't some idiot. Obviously, him being an actor in Hollywood and stuff helped. But he said his age, he felt like their connection regarding that and their history that they've had helped him out a lot. Well, became the longest running monarch in the nation's history, has now died at the age of 96. I mean, talk about living a life. How many lifetimes would you and I have to live to do what the hell she did? I understand she was the queen. Outside of that, just the things that she did, from driving an ambulance during World War II to, supporting her country the way she did. I mean, how many lifetimes would we have to live to do what this great lady did? The royal family confirmed the news on Twitter, writing in a statement, "The queen died peacefully, thank God." At Balmoral? I'm butchering that. Laugh all you want, folks. This afternoon, the king and the queen consort will remain there this evening and will return to London tomorrow. Within an hour of the announcement, thousands had gathered at Buckingham Palace to pay their respects, according to Daily Wire reporting on scene. Some cried, others prayed, and others talked about the queen and her legacy. There's a whole book. I haven't read it, but there's a whole book that details out like a whole set of rules, a whole set of like agenda that they go through as a country when the queen or king dies. And I believe they call it D-Day +1. You're not really going to hear this so much in the news. And then it goes all the way to D-Day +10 is kind of the acronyms for it. And each one has a next level for what they're going to do. And I believe on D-Day +10, it ends with the burial. So there's a whole litany of things that must happen. There's a whole thing that is done in terms of how they say things, how the PR works. And all this stuff is planned ahead of time. Before she ever dies, they have all this stuff already planned. They already have planned for like the next king, as well as the king after that or queen, whoever even follows. They have all that stuff already planned. It's pretty crazy. Though the British monarchy is largely ceremonial, from a legal standpoint, Queen Elizabeth II did wonders for national morale throughout her life. She's more popular than her son is going to be when he's king, by far. I think he was ranked like 6th or 7th in terms of popularity. He'll get some points, of course, when he gets put in. I mean, he's in his 70s. But I mean, nobody in England's history, and I don't even know who's going to surpass her in terms of 70 years on the throne. Folks, it's going to be a long time before you see somebody that's going to be able to run a country for that long, especially in times of political and current turmoil. Yet one of her greatest achievements came early in her career when she served as a steadfast symbol following the drama that preceded her ascension to the throne in the early 1950s. Her Majesty was active during the entirety of her decades-long reign. The most well-traveled monarch in history, the Queen visited 110 countries and was received so well that major parks, cities, statues bearing her namesake can be found in nearly every corner of the globe. She was ubiquitous in popular culture, appearing in ceremonies, sporting events, and coins, and was subject to films and TV shows. As of 2021, Queen Elizabeth II was named the 3rd most admired woman in global history and in a global survey. She was the only royal on the list. I mean, if you want to learn something about a hard just tough woman, that's the one right there. The other woman that always comes to mind is Reagan's wife. That was a tough woman as well. I mean, we always talk about how, better so against women or the patriarchy and all these things. Conservatives, Republicans, we highlight strong women. Women can be strong. I mean, the whole idea that the Democrat and progressive will push this whole thing of trying to oppress women, the patriarchy and all these things. We're literally doing a show right now. The world is doing their shows, highlighting how amazing this woman was. The leader of a country, and they're still going to push their whole progressive bullcrap. It's crazy. It's as if they live in some fantasy world, It's worth remembering that it's often the small steps, not the giant leaps, that bring about the most lasting change. She said that during a Christmas broadcast in 2019. Such a heartwarming woman, too. If you just listen to her, she's so sweet. Just the way she talks. She reminds me so much of my grandma. My grandma looked a lot like Queen Elizabeth, but she reminds me a lot like her. She was born in 1926, Mayfair, London, as the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York. Her father later became King George VI when his older brother, King Edward VIII, abdicated the throne to marry American divorcee Wallis Simpson. During World War II, she joined the Women's Auxiliary Territorial Service and worked as a driver and mechanic. She became the first female member of the royal family to serve in the armed forces. When she did, was the only living head of state to serve. I just want to show a picture of this. I mean, we forget how long this woman was around. When you see somebody in black and white photos, you know they've lived a life, right? I mean, hell, how many World War II people have you ever ran into? There was a guy, my grandfather served in Pearl Harbor. He was in the Navy on the USS Reed. So I got to read his journal that he wrote on D-Day, talking about how he woke up at 5:30 in the morning. He got out of what he called the sack. He was doing laundry. Next thing you know, he heard gunfire. A phenomenal journal entry from him. But, the stuff that they saw, the things they went through, it's just amazing the amount of just history that this woman lived in her life. But there she is serving, you know what I mean? And they don't make them like they used to, but I'll tell you what, phenomenal woman here. And it's sad to see her go, but 96, folks, is just, you did your time. You've met freaking, 12 presidents or something like that. I think she's met personally 13 out of the 14 sitting presidents during her reign. I think the only person she didn't meet was Lyndon Johnson. So phenomenal. We appreciate her service. Thank you for just your, allyship to America. Always working with us, always taking the time to visit, always taking the time to have presidents visit you. So I hope that our reign with England continues. She deserves her peace. She's been in service her entire life. She deserves her rest. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.